Hello and welcome. Ever wondered why it's so hard to put down your phone? We're about to embark on a journey into the captivating realm of social media addiction. In our digital age, this issue is more relevant than ever before. Over the course of this video, we'll be unpacking the potent psychological tactics employed by social media platforms that keep our eyes glued to the screen. So, fasten your seatbelts as we delve into the science behind this obsession, starting with something called the dopamine loop. At the heart of our social media addiction is a powerful reward cycle known as the dopamine loop. This cycle begins when we perform an action that our brain perceives as rewarding. This could be anything from eating a piece of chocolate to receiving a like on a social media post. When this happens, our brain releases a neurotransmitter called dopamine, which gives us a feeling of pleasure and satisfaction. This feeling is so enjoyable that we're driven to repeat the action that caused it, creating a loop. Social media platforms are designed to exploit this loop by providing us with constant, instant rewards in the form of likes, comments, shares, and notifications. Every time we receive one of these rewards, our brain gives us a hit of dopamine, reinforcing our desire to keep scrolling, posting, and interacting. So the dopamine loop keeps us hooked. But what about the fear of missing out, or FOMO? FOMO is another psychological phenomenon that social media platforms take advantage of. It's an acronym for fear of missing out, a form of anxiety that you feel when you're scared of missing important events, news, or experiences. Imagine the unease you feel when you see your friends posting about a great party or a vacation that you're not a part of. That's FOMO. Social media amplifies this fear by constantly bombarding us with updates, images, and stories from our connections. We see others living their best lives, achieving milestones, or simply having fun. It makes us feel like we're not doing enough. We're not enough. And so, we keep checking, keep scrolling in the hope that we won't miss out. This fear, this anxiety is another string that social media platforms pull to keep us hooked. But it's not just FOMO that keeps us glued to our screens. FOMO drives us to keep checking, but what about the need for validation? Social validation is a powerful motivator, and it's baked right into the design of these platforms. As human beings, we crave approval and acceptance from our peers. On social media, this approval comes in the form of likes, comments, and shares. These little digital affirmations serve as social currency, validating our worth and boosting our self-esteem. However, this constant quest for validation can have a negative impact. We may become dependent on external validation, sacrificing authentic connections for superficial approval. But it's not just the quest for validation that keeps us hooked. The very design of these platforms is meant to keep us scrolling indefinitely. Features such as endless scrolling and autoplay create a bottomless pit of content, making it easy to lose track of time. These design choices are not random. They are deliberate tactics employed by platforms to keep us engaged for as long as possible. After all, the longer we stay on the platform, the more data they can collect, and the more ads they can serve. But what's the cost of this endless engagement? In many cases, it's our well-being. Platforms prioritize engagement metrics over user well-being, leading to addictive behaviors. So while the design keeps us scrolling, the manipulation of our data keeps us hooked. Behind the scenes, sophisticated algorithms and targeted advertising manipulate our behavior. These platforms aren't just passive receptacles for our posts and photos. They're active participants, shaping our preferences and nudging us towards certain actions. Our data, from the posts we like to the time we spend scrolling, is constantly mined, monetized, and used to tailor the content we see. This can lead to a feedback loop where we're shown more of what we engage with, further fueling our addiction. This journey into the psychology of social media addiction has revealed a complex interplay of factors, from the dopamine loops triggered by likes and comments, to the fear of missing out that keeps us constantly checking our feeds, to the validation we seek through shares and reactions. All these elements work together, keeping us hooked. Remember, understanding these tactics is the first step in regaining control of our online habits.